Hi everyone, this is Professor Rajesh from Cambridge Institute of Technology, Bangalore. In today's session, I'll be discussing the logic and how to write a program without using built-in library function. The very first function is length of the string. As we know, there is a built-in function called as strlen, string length, in order to find the length of the string. Without using this function, how do we write a program is the talk. Now, what is string? String is a sequence of character terminated with the null character at the end. So every string will be terminated with the null character. To find the length of the string, we have to count the number of characters present in the array. For example, if the input is RAM, as we know that the end of the array will be marked with null value because we are going to read the string. RAM is the string. Now, if I want to know the length of this particular string, I will count 1, 2, 3. That is, R is one character, A is one character, M is one character. So the length of this particular string will be 3. You should not count the null character. Null character just indicates it is the last end of the string is indicated by null character. So the length of the string is 3. So the logic behind this program is, if I want to write a program for this, I have to traverse inside the array. When I traverse inside the array, I will check whether the first value present in the array is null value or not. If it is not null value, I'll keep the count of it. I'll traverse to the next location of the array. Like this, I traverse until I reach the null value. Each and every time when I try to traverse, I will use a variable called as I will increment the variable to keep the count of how many variables are present in the array. Now coming to the program, the logic behind this program, we write the program by starting with header file #include stdio.h. Then void main is the beginning of the program, and all the statements are written inside the flower braces, open and close flower braces of the void main. Now the very first line inside the main function is, I'll be declaring the characters, declaring the variables which will be used in the program. Here the variable is, the very first variable I'm using is an array of size 10, which is of the type character. I want to store the character inside this array. So the array name is S1 of size 10. The maximum character it can store is 9 characters plus 1 is reserved for null value. So depending upon the amount of values or the amount of alphabets you want to store, you can specify the size of the character array. The second variable what I've used is int of I is equal to 0. I've used a variable I which is initialized to 0 because when I traverse inside the array, when I move inside the array always starts with the value 0. So I have initialized the value of I as 0. Next line, enter string 1. So I am prompting a question to the user telling enter the string 1, enter the string. You have to enter one string. Now, as soon as the user sees this particular question on the monitor screen, he will enter one value. That value should be stored in the string. In order to store the value in the string, I'm using unformatted input. I'm using unformatted input. Along in the unformatted input, I'm passing the array name. Here the array name is S1. Now I'll be storing the value inside S1. For example, here I've taken it as RAM. Now RAM will be stored in S1. After storing RAM, one null character will be added by default. That indicates that is the end of that particular array or end of that particular string. Now, how do we count the number of characters? First, we have to enter into the array. In order to do that, what we will be using a while loop. While I'll be checking for the condition. Here the condition is unless until I reach the end of an array. How do we tell we have reached the end of the array or the end of the string is if the value present is null character. As soon as you reach the null character, you will tell you have reached to the end of the string. So first I'll be reading the first variable, the first value stored in the array. S1 of I, what is I value? I value 0. S1 of 0. In location S1 of 0, what is the value present? You can see here in the location of, in the first pass, I'll just show you the pass. The first pass, so when I value 0, S1 of 0 not equal to null. We check whether this S1 of 0 is not equal to null. Now what is S1 of 0? S1 of 0 is R. R is stored in this particular location. So I'll check whether R is not equal to null. Yes, R is not equal to null. Then what I do when the condition is true, I'll enter inside the while loop. I'll increment the I value. Initially the I value was 0. Now the I value has become 1. After incrementing the I value, I will loop back. When I loop back, again I'll check for the condition with the value of I becoming 1. So in the second pass, I will check with the value S1 of 1 not equal to null. What is S1 of 1? S1 of 1 is nothing but at the location of S1 of 1, A is stored. Is A not equal to null? Yes, A is not equal to null. During that case, what happens? If the condition is true, I will increment the I value. Now the I value will become 2. When the I value will become 2, again I have to loop. When I loop back again in the pass 3, I will check with S1 of 2. S1 of 2 is what? M. Is M not equal to null? Yes, M is not equal to null. Again I'll enter into the while loop. I'll increment I value. Now I value will become 3. Once I value becomes 3, again I'll loop back and I'll check for the condition. S1 of 3 not equal to null. Is S1 of 3 not equal to null? No, S1 of 3 is equal to null. So the condition becomes false. When the condition becomes false, I will not enter into the while loop. I'll come out of the while loop. I'll come to this particular line. When I come to this particular line, I'll be printing the length of the string. The length of the string is what I'm printing I value. I value indicates here the length of the string. Normally, we are using this I variable. Each and every time when we find an alphabet is present, we'll increment the I value until we reach the null value. Once we reach the null value, we'll come out of the program and I will print the I value. Here, the length of the string. What is the I value? The last iteration, the I value was 3. I'm printing the length of the string is 3. So this is how the program works. Without using a built-in function, strlen, we have found the length of the string. So coming to the next function, going to the next function, copying a string to another string. How do we copy a string to another string? Can we directly copy one string into another string? No, it is not possible. We can't directly assign one string to another string. The logic here is you have to copy character by character from one string to the another string. That is how the copy works. For example, if the input given here is Ram is stored in S1 array. Ram is stored in S1 array. If I want to copy Ram into S2 array, first I have to copy R, then I have to copy A, then I have to copy M, then I have to insert null character at the end of the second string. How do we do this? The logic, let's see the logic. First, I will traverse inside this array. I'll traverse inside the array. I will check whether there is a variable present over here or a null pointer. If there is a variable, variable in the sense alphabets. If there is an alphabet present over here other than null value, that value will be first stored in S2 of 0. Then I will traverse to the next location and I'll check whether there is a value present over here, alphabet is present over here. Yes, that will be stored. Next, again, if there is a value or a variable, it can be anything. Number also it can be. Whether that is present, yes, it is present then. Unless until I reach null. Null indicates the end of the string. As soon as I reach null, we know that we have read all the values present in the string 1. So what we'll do is, we'll insert one null value to S2, indicating that is the end of the string. How do we do this program? What is the logic? How do we write the program here? So coming to the program, we start the program by writing include stdio.h. Please insert hash over here. This hash include stdio.h. We start the program by writing void main, open braces, close braces. All the statements written inside this belongs to the function main. Main is a function. So the very first line, we have to indicate what are the variables required in our program. Here, the variables required in our program, when you see the input, the variables required is S1 array and S2 array. Both should be a character array. So I've written S1 of 20, S2 of 20. The character size I've taken it as 20, but here we are storing only 3 values I'm storing. By default, null value gets added since it is a string. Then we are using a variable I is equal to 0, as I have already told you why we use I is equal to 0, because array starts with 0. By using this variable, I'll be accessing the first value, second value, third value, like that I'll be accessing it. So we are initializing I value to 0. Then next thing is, I'll be asking the question, enter the string 1. As soon as the user sees this question, the user will enter one value. That value is stored in S1 with the help of unformatted input, that is gets is a function. Using this gets function, I can store the value inside this S1. Now For example, S1 we have stored RAM, RAM we have stored. Since it is a string, it will read null value also. GetS is a function which reads the string. So it will insert a null value at the end of the string. Now, next thing what we have to do is we have to traverse inside the first array and check whether there is an alphabet or a character present over here or a null value present over here. If there is a null value, then that indicates the end of the string. So first what we do is we'll check out the looping process. I value we know it is 0. S1 of 0 not equal to null. What is S1 of 0? S1 of 0 is R. Is R not equal to null? Yes, R is not equal to null. Will enter inside the while loop. While entering inside the while loop, this value should be stored at this location. So how do we write it? S2 of I is equal to S1 of I. This value, the value present in this, should be assigned to this. So here you can see I value is 0. S2 of 0 is equal to S1 of 0. What is the value present in S1 of 0? S1 of 0, R is present. R is assigned to S2 of 0. First, the assignment takes place. You can see here the value R gets inserted in S2 of 0. Then increment takes place. Now, when I increment, I value will become 1. When I value becomes 1, what happens? I have to loop back. I'll go for the looping back. So in the second pass, when I value is 1, we are checking S1 of 1 not equal to null. What is S1 of 1? A. Is A not equal to null? Yes, A is not equal to null. Next, what we have to do? This value should be copied here. Now, how it is copied? S2 of I is equals to S1 of I. We know the I value is 1. S2 of 1 is equals to S1 of 1. What is S1 of 1? A. A is stored in S2 of 1. S2 of 1 we are storing A. Again we increment I value will become 2. Now when I value will become 2, in the third pass what happens? When I is 2, the third pass, S1 of 2. What is S1 of 2? S1 of 2 is M. Is M not equal to null? Yes, M is not equal to null. When the condition is true, will come inside where S2 of 2 is equals to S1 of 2. Now, what is the value stored at S1 of 2? M is stored. This value is accessed and that value is stored in S2 of 2. In this particular location, we will insert M and I gets incremented. I will become 3. When I becomes 3, I'm checking S1 of 3 not equals to null. S1 of 3, is it not equal to null? No, it is equal to null. The condition is false. Students, this indicates that we have reached the end of the S1 array. That is, we have reached to the end of this particular array. When this condition becomes false, we'll come out of the while loop. When we come out of the while loop, we know that I value is 3. Now see, in this particular occasion, the end of the string always should have a null value. We have to insert the null value here, right? When you come out of this array, you will come out of this and exit from the while loop. S2 of I value is 3. For that particular position, I'm inserting the null value. After inserting the null value gets inserted over here. Then I will print the copied string as %s. %s is a format specifier in order to display the string on the monitor screen. The value what we are trying to fetch is the value which is present in S2 array. Now S2 array, what is the value present in S2 array? RAM is the value, or lam is the string present in the S2 array. That will be printed on the monitor screen. Okay, this is the logic behind the program of copying a string to another string without using a built-in function strcpy. There is a built-in function called as strcpy. String copy is a built-in function. Without using the built-in function, this is the program. Now going to the next program, comparing of two string. How do we compare the two string? Is it possible to compare the two string directly? No, it is not possible to compare the two string directly. Like I've written a statement here, if S1 double equals to S2. No, it is not permitted. When you're comparing two string, it is not permitted directly like this. You have to, but how do we compare it? So for example, if you take two string here, you have to, in order to compare, you have to compare the first value or a first alphabet or a character present in S1 of 0 and the first character present in S2 of 0. If these both are same, then I will check the second character. If these both are same, next I'll check the third character. If these both are same, next I'll check the next character. Here the next character tells it is the end of the string. Here the next character tells it is the end of the string. Means in the first array, S1 array we have stored Ram. In second array also we have stored Ram. Both are same. Then we'll tell the given strings are same, else we'll tell the strings are not same. So how do we write the logic for the program? Again, why do we use this I value of 0? Because I'll be traversing inside the array. When I traverse inside the array, since array starts with 0, I've used declared a variable I is equals to 0. So let us see the logic behind this program. So the very first line, I'm including the header file, starting the program by writing void main, open braces, close braces. All the statements will be written inside this open and close braces. So in this program, now, in the very first line, we have to declare all the variables required in the program. So I require 2 character arrays. Now the character array S1 and S2, and I require a variable I, which is initialized with the value 0. I have to read S1 and S2 first. So I'll prompt a question telling enter string 1. As soon as the user sees enter string 1, the user will enter a string. That value will be stored in S1 with the help of unformatted input gets function. Gets function is a function which reads the string. That value will be stored in S1. Now, for example, we have stored Ram. Ram is stored in S1. As we know, after storing Ram, the ending character will be null character will be added by default when you are reading the string. Now enter the string 2. Again, we are storing Ram into S2. The ending character will be null character will be added by default. Now we have to compare this both. I told we have to compare character by character. So here the condition is S1 of I. I'll just display the condition for you guys. Now I value 0. S1 of 0 double equals to S2 of 0. And there are 3 conditions I've specified. All these 3 conditions should satisfy in order to enter into the while loop. So first I'll check this both, whether these both are similar. And I'll check whether this is not a null value and this is also not a null value. Why do I check the second and third condition is if any one of the string of any one of the array has got the null value, then I tell that is the end of the string. I should come out of that particular string. So in this first case, let us see the scenario for 2 string being equal. Later I'll be explaining about how do we check whether the 2 strings are not equal. So in this first case, S1 of 0, what is S1 of 0 is R. S2 of 0, what is S2 of 0 is R. Correct, true, that is condition is true. And S1 of 0 is not equal to null. S1 of 0, that is R is not equal to null. Yes. Again, S2 of 0, R is not equal to null. Yes. So all the 3 conditions satisfy. We are using an AND operator over here. Logical AND we are using. Why do we use logical AND is all the 3 conditions should be satisfied in order to enter into the while loop. When all the 3 conditions is satisfied, we know that we will enter into the while loop, will increment the I value. Now I value becomes 1. When I value became 1, again we are going to the while loop. We are going back to the while loop. In while loop, when I value will become 1, S1 of 1 double equals to S2 of 1. We'll check with this value, whether this value is same as this value. Okay. Now we know what is S1 of 1, A. A is double equal to S2 of 1. Yes, it is equal. Again, we are checking whether A is not equal to null. No, it is not equal to null. And A is not equal to null. Again, no, it is not equal to null. When the condition is true, we increment I value. I value will become 2. When I value will become 2, again we'll loop back. Again we'll loop back. We'll check for the condition. In this condition, what happens when I loop back? I value was 2. So replacing all the I value by 2. S1 of 2 double equals to S2 of 2. What is S1 of 2? M. M double equals to S2 of 2. What is S2 of 2? M. And M not equal to null? Yes. And M not equal to null? Yes. The condition is true. Then what happens? I will increment the I value. I value will become 3. When I value will become 3, you can check here. Here what happens? S1 of 3 is null value. Yes. Double equals to S2 of 3 is also null value. Yes, the condition is true. And S1 of 3 not equal to null. Here the condition becomes false because it is equal to null. Again, if any one of the condition becomes false, the entire condition becomes false over here. Once it becomes false, what happens? We'll come out of the while loop. When we come out of the while loop, we are using an if statement here. What is the use of this if statement is we are checking whether we have reached the end of the string. Whether we have reached the end of the string, both the string we have to check once. For example, here S1 of I, what was our updated I value? I value was 3. We are checking S1 of 3 is double equals to null. Whether we reach the end of the first string? Yes. And S2 of 3 double equals to null. Did we also reach the end of the second string? Yes. If this both the condition is true, I'll be printing. If both the condition is true, yes, the condition is true, then students, this bracket is not there. Please ignore this bracket over here. If both the condition is true, I'll print strings are same. Okay, this is the logic. Logic and a program to compare two string. Now let us see one more example program to check to display the message strings are different. For example, here I've taken these are two strings. In S1 string, S1 array, I've stored RAM, and in S2 array, I've just read the value R. I've read the character R over here. That's all. So coming with the program, logic with the program, we'll just start the tracing of the program. First, when I value is 0, we'll check S1 of 0 double equals to S2 of 0. What is S1 of 0? R. S2 of 0 is also R. The condition will be true. And R is not equal to null. S1 of 0 is not equal to null. Yes. S2 of 2 not equal to null. Yes. Then what we are confirming is the first characters are same. In both the string, first character are same. And I'll increment I value. I value will become 1. Now, when I increment I value and go back to the while loop, again I'll be checking S1 of 1. What is S1 of 1 is A. Yes, what 2 of 1 is what? Null. Are these both same? Are these both same? No, they are not same. Right? When the condition becomes false, any one of the condition becomes false, or entire condition becomes false. I'll come out of this while loop. When I come out of the while loop, I will check. There is a condition of what I'm checking is whether did I reach to the end of this particular string S1 array, or whether did I reach end of this S2 array. So S1 of what is I value? Updated I value is 1. S1 of 1 double equals to null. S2 of 1 double equals to null. What is S1 of 1? A. A is double equals to null. No. This indicates that there are elements still present in the S1 array. And this indicates that we have reached the end of the S2 array. So what by this, in this condition, we tell that it is false because only we have terminated the S2 array. S1 array, there are still characters to be read. So we'll be printing the strings are different. This is how we have to trace a program in order to check the strings are same or different. Okay. Now this can be done. The comparison can be done with a built-in function called as strcmp. I'm repeating it once again. There is a built-in function called as strcmp function, which can be used to compare two string. Without using the built-in function, this is a program which you have to write. So going to the last function, concatenation of strings. Now what is a concatenation of string? Combining the two string, we call it as a string concatenation. Normally this cannot be done with the simple arithmetic addition operators. For example, here I've taken the sentence statement S3 is equals to S1 plus S2. In this statement, I can't add S1 string plus S2 string and store it in S3 string. It is not possible. Again, I can't add S1 plus in double equals to double quotes as specified hello as a string. This string cannot be added with S1 array, and I can't store. All these are invalid. It's not a valid strings. Okay. In order to concatenate, what we have to do is the characters from the S1 string and the character from the S2 string should be copied one by one inside the third string called as S3. Always the destination should be large enough to hold the value present in the S1 string and S2 string. For example, if the string 1 size is 10, if string 2 size is 10, then string 3 size should be 20 to hold all the characters present in S1 and S2 string. So it is always advised to keep the destination string, that is S3 string, with the larger size value. The process of combining this S1 string and S2 string is called as concatenation. Now let us see the logic of the program and the coding of the program. Now in the string concatenation program, I'll just show you the input and what is required. Now students do observe this input statement. We have used S1 array, S2 array, and S3 array. I've just I've given the name of the array S1, S2, S3. Now in S1 array, I've stored RAJ. And we know by default, the ending character will be null character will be added by the compiler itself. Now here what happens, I've stored RAJ. In S2 array, I've stored ESH. Now I want to concatenate. I want to concatenate string 1 and string 2. So when I concatenate this both, the result should be stored in S3. Now concatenation is a process of combining two strings, I told. When I combine two strings, the output present in S3 should be RAJESH. It should be Rajesh ended with null character. That should be the output displayed on the monitor screen. So what is the logic behind the program is, first again I'll be traversing into this S1 array. When I'm traversing into this S1 array, we know that we can traverse, how do we traverse into the S1 array, which is already taught. I will access, if I'll check whether the first value is present as a character or a null value. If it is a character, that character will be copied. The character here is R will be copied into this S3. Again, A will be copied here. Again, J will be copied here. When we reach the null value, then what we'll do is we'll stop reading the first string and we'll go for the second array. In second array, we'll start reading from the initial value, and I'll store this E in this particular location, S in this location, H in location. When I encounter null value over here in the second array, I will stop reading and I will insert a null value at the end of the S3 array. So what is the logic behind this program and how do we work? Let us see the logic behind this program. So I'm using here two variables, I variable and J variable. So we have two array. Now I variable is initialized with the value 0. J is also initialized with the value 0 because array always starts with the value 0. Why I've used I and J, I will let you know. Now starting, the very first thing is this is not a program, it's just a code segment which should be used in the program. So very first condition, what I'll do is I have I value is initialized to 0, J is initialized to 0. The very first while loop, you can see the tracing part here. S1 of 0 not equal to null. What is S1 of 0? S1 of 0 is R. Is R not equal to null? Yes, the condition is true. When the condition is true, what I have to do? I have to store this R here, right? So what we used string copy, right? The same thing, we are copying it. S1 of I, what is S1 of I? S1 of I, 0 is R. R is assigned to S3 of 0. Students, you can see this line. When I value 0, S3 of 0 is equals to S1 of 0. What is S1 of 0? R. Now R is assigned to S3 of 0. Now here you can see I have updated R value. After updating R in S3 of 0, I will increment I. I will become what? I will become 1. Again, I will loop back. When I loop back, I'm checking for S1 of 1. So what is S1 of 1? I'm trying to read the second value present in the S1 array. What is S1 of 1? S1 of 1 is A. A is not equal to null. Yes, the condition is true. Then I'll come inside. I have to copy S1 of 1 to S3 of 1. So S1 of 1 is what? A. A is copied into S3 of 1. So in place of S3 of 1, A will be stored. Yes. Again, I will increment. When I increment, I value will become 2. When I value will become 2, again I will loop back. So when I loop back, when I value is 2, I'm checking S1 of 2 not equals to null. What is S1 of 2? J. Is J not equal to null? Yes, J is not equal to null. When the condition is true, I'll come inside this while loop. What I'll do is this value is accessed and stored in this particular location. So S3 of 2 is equals to S1 of 2. What is present in S1 of 2? J. So this J will be stored in S3 of 2. So you can see in S3 of 2, we have updated J and we have updated the character J and I gets incremented. I will become 3. Again, the looping takes place. In the looping, in the fourth loop, we are checking S1 of 3 not equal to null. What is S1 of 3? Null. So is null not equal to null? False. The condition is false. By this, we tell that we have finished reading S1 array. We have completed reading S1 array. When the condition becomes false, what happens when this condition becomes false? We'll come out of the while loop. When I come out of the while loop, what I have to do is I have to read the second array. In order to read the second array, I will use while S2 of J. Why I'm using J? Because when I've come out of this particular array, the I value will be, what will be the I value? The I value will be 3. Remember this, the I value became 3. Okay, I value has become 3. You have to remember this. So I have to traverse from the initial point. I have to traverse from the initial point, right? So S2 of 0. What is S2 of 0? E. E is not equal to null. Yes, it is not equal to null. When it is not equal to null, what we have to do is this E should be stored at this location. Now in order to fetch the location 3, you can see what is the modification I've done is S3 of I plus j is equals to S2 of j. J value is 0. S2 of 0 is what? S2 of 0 is what? E. E should be stored at which location? It should be stored at S3 of 0. When I write I plus j, we know the I value. What is the updated I value is 3. 3 plus j value is what? 0. 3 plus 0 is 3. At the location 3, I want to store E. So you can observe here after this, when the updated I value I've shown here, and J value, initially the J value will be 0. So in the second while loop, when J value is 0, S2 of 0 not equal to null. Yes, it is not equal to null because S2 of 0 is E. E is not equal to null. Now I have to store E at this particular location. So I have written S3 of I plus j. If you write only j, then what happens? This R will be overwritten. I don't want to overwrite. I want to store at this location. So I'm writing I plus j. I value is 3. 3 plus 0 is what? 3 plus 0 is 3. Now this value E is stored at the location S3 of 3. So you can see E is stored here. Then j gets incremented. J will become 1. When j becomes 1, I'll loop back. Now I'll check S1 of j is 1, right? S2 of 2. What is S2 of 2? Sorry, S2 of 1 it is. Yeah, it is S2 of 1. J value would have incremented by 1. So S2 of 1, what is S2 of 1? S. Is it not equal to null? Yes, it is not equal to null. So what I'll do is, S is not equal to null, yes. During that case, I'll enter inside this. S2 of j, that is S2 of j is what? 1, right? So S will be stored at this location. What is this location? I value, we know I value is updated, I value is 3 plus the previous j value is 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So in the location of S3 of 4, I should store S. You can observe here, I've stored S. Yes. Again, what I do, I increment the j value. J value will become 2. Now I value is 3, j value is updated to 2. Again, in the next loop, what we'll do is we'll check S2 of 2 not equal to null. What is S2 of 2 is H. Whether H is not equal to null, yes, H is not equal to null. When the condition is true, what we do is we copy it into the S3 string, S3 array. So S2 of 2, what is S2 of 2? H. H is copied to the location. S3 of I is 3, updated J is 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. At this particular location, we are copying H. Then what happens? Again, we are incrementing the J value. J becomes 3. Now we are checking S2 of 3 not equal to null. Is S2 of 3 not equal to null? No, it is null. The condition becomes false. Now here it indicates that second string is read completely. We have finished reading the second string, but you know that at the end we have to insert a null value to tell this is a string. So what we do is, once the condition becomes false, we'll come out of the while loop. When we come out of the while loop, S3 of I plus j, we know the updated value of I is 3 plus check out what is the updated value of j. The last updated value of j is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. S3 of 6, that is at the location S3 of 6, I'll be adding this null value. Okay. After adding the null value, I'll just print the concatenated string is S3. I'm just printing the value which is present in the S3 array. What is present in the S3 array is Rajesh. Rajesh will be printed on the monitor screen. This is how we combine two strings. There is a built-in function called as str cat, string concatenate. I'm repeating it once again. Str cat is a built-in function where we can concatenate two strings without using the built-in function. This is the logic behind the program. Going with the program, let's just check out with the program. The output you can see, it will print Rajesh. The overall program looks like this. A header file, we have included the header file. We have started the program writing void main, open and close braces. All the statements belonging to the main should be written inside this. We have declared three array, S1, S2, S3 array. Here, the three array are of the type characters because I'll be storing the characters inside this array. And you can see the destination array, I've taken it as larger than the two arrays. So, and again, I'm using two variables over here, j, I and j, which was told you guys what is the use of this particular variable. I'll be reading the first string, then I'll be reading the second string. Here I've read array j, here I've read ESH. By using with the help of this while loop, I'll be concatenating the two string. After concatenating the two string, at the end of the S3 string, I'll be inserting a null value. Then I'll be printing the concatenated string by printing the data which is present in the S3 array. These are the four functions in a string which has been explained. Thank you.